If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or anything gaming related, check the referral links down in the description. They'll take you to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods already, and with the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well.
Hey guys, how's it going? Cheers back again and welcome to episode number 125 of the Career Mode Road to Glory here on FIFA 15. We start with Cambridge United at home against Newcastle United. An difficult fixture really, although they do sit 14th in the table. Although, to be fair, with the way Newcastle have been playing in real life the past few years, that's probably about where you would expect them to be. But over the years, we became accustomed in the 90s, etc., to see Newcastle finish definitely in the top half of the table, if not towards the European spots. But the past 10 years or so, not quite so good and not quite such happy times for the Geordies up there in the northeast, but we'll try and almost compound that misery if we possibly can here in this one, although they're starting a very strong side. They've got Brown Day up top, Moussa Sissoko, Yohan Gouffran and Remy Cabella as their midfield three. I really like Remy Cabella and I would love to bring him in to Cambridge United, but he's just been too expensive to this point in the career mode. But who knows, in the next season or so when we get extra bigger budgets, we might be able to find ourselves getting a player of that quality in. Unfortunately though, another near post goal. Very disappointed with the way that went in. Goalkeeper positioning at fault again, and Kieran Westwood palms that one up into the top corner. We find ourselves going 1-0 down early on in this game, which was against the run of play in fairness to that particular point, although I hadn't really had too many clear-cut opportunities. It was more just heavy based possession. I just couldn't quite find that final ball. Here though, the final ball was good. Georgiev with a good turn as well, and that was what created the space for the opportunity to rifle it into the bottom corner to make it 1-1 just before half-time. And we still weren't at the half-time period before the next chance came along. Aquadar into Georgiev, heavily involved again. It's been very good for us, Georgiev, since we brought him in, and I wasn't expecting him to kind of take over from Kwesi Appiah and Fabian Cassada in the way that he did, but he has done, and Ranti has come in this season and absolutely set the place on fire. He's scoring goals left, right and centre. In fact, they both are scoring goals more often than they aren't scoring goals in games, so I'm really pleased with the way my front two have been playing this season, and they're the reason why we are where we are in the league right now. They nick the ball off Ranti there, and then he falls to the ground and ends up holding his leg, and I'm not sure how he went down, because he the challenge came in and then he seemed to almost fall awkwardly after the challenge happens. You'll see from the replay, the ball is gone, the challenge is gone, and then he almost loses his balance after, as he's trying to regain his balance from the tackle itself. That's when he twists his ankle, and unfortunately he's going to be out for about 4 weeks. But we get a little stroke of luck with the fact that there's an international break between this game and the next game, so he's not actually going to miss as many games as perhaps he could have. And luckily for us there, the post came to our rescue as well, and we stayed at 2-1, where Newcastle very, very close to bringing themselves back on level terms. But Georgiev involved again, obviously. He's involved in absolutely everything right now. Fabian Cassada had come on for Ranti in this second half, does very well to turn inside there and drills a brilliant ball across, picks out Georgiev perfectly, pinpoint pass, and that makes it 3-1 in the 90th minute, and we're going to claim all 3 points at home against the Magpies. So fortunately for us, 3 points, although unfortunately for us, losing our best striker to injury. But Georgiev clearly scoring goals as well. He got a brace in that one, and Cassada isn't exactly unfamiliar with a goal scoring role, so we'll be hoping he can jump into this game against Manchester United away from home and do exactly that. Although Man United, have a look at this league table, they're down in 12th. A very, very poor showing from Man United, especially this far into the season. Like, if it was only 10 games or so, you might expect that, alright, maybe they just had a poor start, but 30 games in to still be down in 12th, it's a really, really poor showing from Man United this year, and they must be a weakened side, but they don't look like a weakened side, and they've got David De Gea in goal. I think this is in 5 seasons, this is the first, well, to be fair, we didn't play Man United for the first 3, but in other series, when we've been in the first 3 seasons in the BPL, never played against David De Gea. Now, in Season 5, we are playing against David De Gea. I thought that Man United must sell him on, because everybody seems to come up against Anders Lindegaard or Sam Johnson, etc., or Ben Amos when they're playing against Man United in career mode. But apparently David De Gea does stay at the club. It is open to the game is open to making that happen, although they might have hoped that it had been Anders Lindegaard in between the sticks, because the first thing De Gea did in this game was give away a penalty. Georgiev clearly incensed. I'm not sure how Chris Smalling wasn't able to hold him off, because he's not the tallest or strongest, Georgiev, but and Chris Smalling is quite tall and very strong, but he brushes him aside side, gets to the ball first. De Gea comes out, sweeps his feet from underneath him, and it is a definite penalty. Question of whether a booking should have been in order, but nothing was given. Can't really complain. It was early on in the game, and we get the penalty and score it anyway, so I'm not really too fussed about whether De Gea should have stayed on the pitch or not, or whether he should have picked up a yellow card for that. All that matters is that we got the penalty, we scored the penalty, we have a 1-0 lead. And then Nani comes down the right-hand side, literally straight after we'd actually gone in front. Not really too sure how that ball worked its way back to Raphael. I don't know whether it was a pass from Nani or whether it deflected off the defender. Unfortunately, though, it worked its way to Juan Mata, who with his right foot drilled it underneath the goalkeeper into the bottom corner. He scored a very similar goal on Football Manager against me in one of the streams earlier on in the week, actually. So I was quite disappointed with that, but lovely feat by Cassida to take it around Smalling, and he does brilliantly well to take it around the second defender, but unfortunately De Gea makes a very, very good save, maybe making up for the penalty giveaway earlier on in the game, because that was definitely a one-on-one where the odds were heavily in favour of the attacker. Unfortunately, though, we weren't able to get it into the back of the net, and neither was Juan Mata there, looking for his second goal of the game, but unfortunately for him, good save by Kieran Westwood, and then the secondary shot, came into the side netting. So into the second half we went. Obviously, it's been a bit of an end-to-end game so far, chances at both ends, but a lovely ball through by Cassida here, and again Georgiev able to race away, and actually a top finish into the bottom corner. He's left-footed, Strail Georgiev, but the Bulgarian fires that into the bottom right-hand corner. I think De Gea was kind of expecting him to go across goal, which is why he just kind of stood there rooted to the spot. Made the movement to his right, the ball went to his left, couldn't adjust his feet in time, and Georgiev fired it into the bottom corner. We have ourselves a 2-1 lead at Old Trafford, although it's a Man United side that really are underperforming, very much so. We make it 3-1 here in the 67th minute, but with the way that clearly Man United's season is going, it's not an out of kilter result to how you might expect things to go, or how you would have expected things to go prior to the game. Van Persie came on, feeds in Chris Smalling here as they go all out attack, but a good save down low by Kieran Westwood keeps them out. We do get a 3-1 win at Old Trafford. Now, I would ordinarily have been a little bit questionable as to whether that was because the difficulty was too low, etc., as numerous people continue to point out in the comment section. It's too easy, Ches, you're winning too many games. But right now, I'm quite happy with the way things are going. A hat-trick there from Georgiev leaves us with 6 points from 2 games so far in today's episode. And we currently sit third in the table, although everybody around us has a game in hand. So we could find ourselves being very, very close to the sides in 4th and 5th, rather than those in 1st and 2nd. But we're playing a little bit of a rotation side here. A couple of players you wouldn't expect to see in the starting lineup. Again, Cassida coming in for Ranti. Woolong were there at centre-back, and Polens continues to play at right-back in place of Hector Bellerin, as, to be fair, Polens is growing a lot quicker, so I'm going to play him. And Hull City starting a 5-3-2, as they tend to do in real life and on FIFA, with Abel Hernandez and Nias up top. I don't know who Nias is. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section. My football knowledge is decent, I think, in my opinion, although there are obviously certain players and certain leagues that I know absolutely nothing about, so it's always nice to have you guys with, we've got people from all around the world watching my series, so it's nice to be able to draw knowledge from, different parts of the world, and I'm sure there'll be a handful of you out there that know who Nias is. But it wasn't a striker for either side that scored the first goal. It was Aquadar, our central midfielder. He's growing extremely well so far this year, up 5 ratings from where he started this season, and he was just right place, right time. Good save by John Ruddy initially, but it popped free, and my central midfielder was on hand to smash it into the back of the net. We were definitely on top in the opening few stages in this one. Georgiev trying to build on his 5 goals so far in today's episode, but again, John Ruddy up with a very, very good save. So as we head towards half-time, Hull kind of came into it a little bit more. I've noticed this recently. Teams don't seem to start very well against me, but they get a lot stronger as the half goes on towards half-time. And then similarly in the second half, teams don't really start too well, and I'm normally able to pick up a goal early on in the first or second half, and then they tend to come back at me. But we conceded there just before half-time. Good cross, very good header to get it into the top corner. Was a very good header there from Georgiev as well, and that was headed towards the top corner at the very same end. But John Ruddy continues to make very good saves against us. us, so we'll have the corner instead. We'll try and get a header from this particular attempt. We can't quite win the first one. Don't know why the goalkeeper doesn't go up for the second chance. It drops to Andy Kellett here, our left back. Another good save by Ruddy, but again, it drops kindly to the right man in the right place. And Strail Georgiev has another goal in today's episode. That's 6 for him in 3 goals. He's in absolutely fantastic form. But we make a couple of changes just to freshen things up. One in defence, I think, and one in midfield. Or in fact, it may have been one in midfield and one up top. Kevin Schmidt there coming on for Fabian Cassidy. And I think Gabbiadini came on in midfield. So strengthening in the middle, strengthening up top. Perhaps trying to take the game away from Hull and win it 3-1. Actually, what would weirdly have been for the 3rd game in a row. But we get a 3-1 victory against Newcastle and Manchester United and a 2-1 victory against Hull City. Although all 3 sides were in the bottom half of the table. So you would have expected us to get those results regardless. But we currently sit 2nd in the table now. We've jumped above Manchester City, but they still continue to have a game in hand on us. We're 3 points behind Chelsea. We will be 3 points behind City if they win their game in hand. And Palace and Liverpool will, of course, close up on us. And Spurs and Arsenal should they win their games in hand as well. But we're in a decent position right now. I would be very happy if we can finish the season in a Champions League spot. I think the title is going to be out of our reach. We do have some very difficult games left. But it's still very tight at the bottom as well. As you can see, 30 points in 18th. And Everton up in 13th have 32. So perhaps I should show... I always mean to show the relegation zone whenever I show the league table at the end of the episode. And I always forget for some reason. But regardless, that's going to bring today's episode to a close. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be streaming tonight. So check the links in the description to my Twitch. And you'll be able to follow the channel over there. And I will go live. You'll be able to see from the slate that's on screen. I go live at 8:45 PM every single day. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you next time.